Yeah, hey, what's up, man? Happy to be here with you. I saw you on TikTok and I think you have some views that aren't like a favorite of the general public. So,
Mhm.
and I love what you say, but I didn't prepare any script for this, so I'm just gonna talk to you as if you were someone I'm trying to get to know more about.
Mhm.
What made actually, well, first of all, introduce yourself, please.
Oh shit. My name is Fidelis. I'm known as the truth guy on TikTok.
Uh-huh.
Uh been banned for a lot. Yeah, so I'm a well-known conservative. They hate that. I'm also I'm not more so with things politically, but I would be considered a Republican if people would like want to portray me as one. I'm fine with that. Um, what else? Yeah, that's about it. Nothing crazy.
Okay. So as a black conservative, I know there's not a lot out there. Have
Hmm.
you gotten any hate or anything of that sort from other fellow black people?
So I'm from Philly, so when people recognize who I am in Philly, especially like in Center City or something, people will call me out on it. You know, especially with the whole movement of BLM, people think that I'm against my people. So like I get like harassed a lot in Center City when they know who I am.
Hmm.
You know, I expect it because of how I see things, and it really like it doesn't phase me because I know no one's going to do anything to me. But it's just like people would like stop me in the middle of the street because I'm the truth guy, and and they'll be like, ah, la, la, la. Like, I'll give you an example. Like this one time I was at the super center, the Walmart super center, and it was a group of people. I would assume it was like a group of LGBT people. So they knew who I was, and like the first thing they did was throw a shoe at me, right? So they threw a shoe at me, and I knew exactly who did it, so I just laughed it off. Like, I'm like, I'm not gonna cause a scene. I'm just gonna pretend like it didn't happen and stuff. Until once they realized that I wasn't giving them the attention that they wanted, they started ended up approaching me and like trying to surround me and stuff, and I didn't let them surround me and everything. And then it was just like, you misogyn, like, off the bat, you misogynistic, homophobe, blah 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 blah.
Hello.
Hold up.
Okay.
All right, my bad.
No, that's okay.
I had a phone call. So, they would stop me and all this other bullshit. And yeah, so it's just like it goes on. It's like when people know who I am, it goes on and on. So
Is
okay.
that why you built yourself up to protect yourself, just in case something happens?
Yeah. I mean, like I'm naturally, I'm naturally, but because I know no one's gonna do something to me, but I know one of these days someone's gonna actually, try something on me. And like I'm always ready for that. But yeah, I've been harassed multiple times just for simply being a guy on TikTok. I've been harassed a good 8 to 9 times just because I am who I am.
Yeah, I know you have strong opinions on the LGBTQ community, but I wanted to know more about your conservative stance and why you don't side with the liberals. Can you elaborate on that?
Because the reason why I'm a conservative, I see things as natural and traditionally. Like I see things in a way, like if you throw all the technicalities aside, if you throw all, like I see things as by the book and by like natural, like there are things that are natural and there are things that are unnatural. You know what I mean? And what really made me stand against liberals is when they started to target children. That's what really set me off. It's like, because children shouldn't know about certain things. You should let kids be kids. You know what I mean? Like once you start trying to rally up children in a political standpoint or in your point of view, it doesn't make sense when these kids don't even know how to boil water.
Are you
So
talking
why?
about the LGBTQ educating student, like kids on the sexual identity?
Yeah, like that, and like once like having kids, like it's just one thing that's going on right now is like there, like it shouldn't even really be. I don't even want to really focus on the LGBTQ, but in any topic when it comes to liberals, they're involved. You know what I mean? So it's just like, and people think them thinking that I'm a homophobe is hilarious because I'm not. When they had this whole scheme of saying being a Trump supporter means that automatically you're a misogynist, you're a homophobe, and you're a bigot and all this other stuff. It makes me laugh because I would want the American people as a whole to be protected and safe and be treated fairly. But when we have a whole community that want to be center of attention with everything, that's where I have a problem. Because now look at I'll give you a good example. Look at BLM. Look at the Black Lives Matter movement. Look at what it turned to. Instantly, once the BLM movement started, I instantly knew where it was gonna go. Like now they go to the point where they're saying being Black and being gay is the same thing.
Oh, I saw your video on that, yeah.
And they consider being Black and being gay the same. Both parties are minorities, which I don't agree with. I believe that just because I'm Black, I'm not a minority. I'm an American. I'm an American man. That doesn't. I'm an American just as well as any other American here. So I should be treated as an American, not a minority, not someone like, oh, you're Black, so that means that you're struggling. Like in any aspect, you're the racist because you think I'm struggling because of my skin color off of what you see me as. You see me as a man that's struggling because of my skin color. You're the racist. And that's where like I try to have people like understand where the blurred line is. It's like you can't just sit there and tell me, and like you'll sit there in my face and you'll tell me you're a Black person, therefore you are oppressed systematically and publicly and I'm like, who are you to tell me? Because the last time I checked, there are how many African Americans can we name drop right now who are successful in this country? Countless many. How many doctors can we count off as African Americans who are doctors, lawyers, all these things? And you want to still tell me that me because of my skin color, that's where I want the blurred line to be cleared up, because these, especially Democrats, liberal, like Democrats, all of them, they want to press down Black people and say it's the other side pressing down Black people, and the cycle continues, and the cycle continues, and the cycle continues, which is what I want to break. I want to break that. And TikTok, at this point, TikTok knows who I am. They know what I do. That's why it's not hard for me to buy another phone. I will buy another phone. Unfortunately, TikTok is the only place where we can try to get some type of point across because of the way their algorithm works. I can't sit there and try to do the same thing for Instagram, because Instagram will see me as some guy that probably likes, because of the things that I like, they will never push my videos on Instagram because I've liked on Instagram. They'll push me towards anime or some stuff like that instead of where I want to go. So, so it's really like hard to really try to get that off when it comes to like Instagram. So TikTok is the only place where I know where it's going to get across. And even if it's not, as long as people are sharing it, I know it's getting out there, what's really going on. That's why I'm mainly on TikTok. And people will strive me as this hateful person and all this other stuff, which is hilarious to me, because these people don't even know that my favorite artist is gay. They don't even know that. They just assume that I just simply hate gay people. And I don't, because I wouldn't want to associate myself with gay people. I wouldn't want to do, like, no, at the end of the day, Whether you're gay or straight, if you are in need, if you're thirsty or hungry, I will give you a drink. I will help you out. If you're cold, I'm going to give you a jacket. I'm not going to treat you any different because you're gay. I just know what the truth is. It's like, it's one thing for an adult to make the decisions to be gay, but once you bring children into it, that's where I have a problem. Once you start bringing children, telling children to take growth stop hormones and consider children to be non-binary until they can make their decision, that's where I have a problem. You need to let children be children. That's where I have a problem, and that's where it's headed. And I'm just doing everything I can to stop it. But it's just like, people like me will always be silenced and everything because, it's not a black white thing anymore. It's like, now look at what's going on right now. Now everyone is mainly focused on Asian people getting attacked. That's been the most recent thing right now. But that's been going on for so long. It's been happening for the longest, and no one paid attention to it until they started asking Biden questions. The moment they started asking Biden questions, now everybody is so focused on this Asians attacks that's been going on for years. It's ridiculous to me. I find it hilarious that they use tragedies as distractions when it should just be already a focal point of something that needs to be addressed. It's not going to be addressed until these people need a distraction. And that's what annoys me the most. That's what annoys me. And it's going to be and now that Asian harassment, Asian attacks be a sole focal point, I know the direction where it's going to go. This is where liberals are going to sit there and take charge of that. They're going to take over that and use that for their own little agendas. They're going to use tragedies for their own agendas. And I know that's where it's headed, which annoys me the most.
So what is the agenda? Where do you think we're moving to with this?
I think the agenda is right now is to make the American people soft as plush. I think that's what I think the whole scheme of it is to make us, what's the word I'm looking for? I think the scheme is to make us, what is that word where you don't take action? What is that word?
Silenced.
Silence. I guess in a way, they just want us. They're trying to really control they want to control us and push a move and push this thing where it's just like, now look at how they treat men in America. Look at how they're treating men in America, and unfortunately, look at how they're treating men in America. This is where in a way you can say racism is a thing. Yeah, racism is always going to be a thing, but it should never be a main focal point. I don't believe that racism should ever be at a high standpoint that it is. I don't agree with it. I don't think it should be the main focus. It's something bigger than racism that's going on here. Look at the way they treat men, not even just black men. They treat like every man in America. Why are they trying to push us to be feminized? Why do we have to be what happened to now suddenly if you're a big guy who does things by the book as a man, now suddenly you're a problem? Why is it that I'm a bad man until I wear a dress? I don't understand that. Why is it that I can't teach my son how to be a man? Why is it, not saying I have a son, I'm just saying if I was to have a son, why can't I, the way I want to teach him to be a man? Why is this a problem? They're making men weak and they're making women not like men. And the worst of it is when it comes to being black, the worst of it is how divided black men and black women are. If you look at it, again, liberals the word, and I hate to break it to them. I hate saying this. I really hate saying it, but it's the truth. The liberals and those left-wing people, the way they control the black female's mind is the worst. They have them. That's why black men now disagree with black women. Okay, black men was like, okay, you don't like us, we don't like you. When it shouldn't even be like that. It shouldn't be like that at all. Like, black women, since they like this, they sit there and because of what liberals say about black men, and they fall for it every single time. They say, "Oh, the black men are the most uneducated," and they fall for it. And the black woman, majority of the black women say they're correct, and they go against the African American man. And now the African American man, instead of standing up and fighting that, they say, "Okay, you guys don't like us, now we don't like you." And now black men and black women are very much divided. It's like now, which is exactly what was wanted by liberals. And now you can convert, now you can sit there and convert black women to say what they believe in is what liberals believe in. Now black women don't stand up for black men anymore. And now black men have rejected black women. And that's one thing that I've been trying to fight for. Is like, and black women, they have infighting, they have like inside fighting amongst each other. And when they have that inside fighting, they blame black men. Like, they blame black men for the faulty of black women. And that's also an issue that can't be resolved until everyone opens up to say, hey, this is what's going on. These people right here, these liberals right here are dictating how we should live, are dictating how we should move as a people. And why is it? And like, when it comes to black people, this is where I have a problem with black people. I'm like, use your brains. Why is it that when Trump was president, when he sat there and he did what he could for Chicago, why did everyone have a problem with what he tried to do for Chicago? Chicago was seeing the most crime rates of that time, around that time where Trump sent forces to Chicago. The crime was ridiculous. And people had a problem with Trump doing that. I'm confused. You don't want citizens to be helped? Like, help me understand that. Why was every action Trump did to help something or to help a situation, why was it such a bad thing? I can't understand that. And when he sent the forces, they said, oh, that's when he sent the forces to Chicago, what they did, especially liberals, what they did was turn his actions around. They said that, oh, he sent forces to contain and control the citizens of Chicago, when in reality he was trying to contain and control the situation in Chicago. That's where that whole movement started for all cops are bad cops. That's where it started. The moment he made that action to Chicago, that's where they started that option. And then that's when they started with gun control. That's why they started because that action, that when Trump decided to send forces to Chicago, that's when those two movements started, which doesn't make any sense to me, or why you would say, because the last time I checked, if me and a bunch of friends come rob your house right now, who are you going to call? Who are you calling? Who are you calling other than those same people that you're against? Exactly. So these people, they like what they want. It's like the decisions that they want to be made. That's why I like Biden. Look at Biden in office now. Look, Biden in office right now, dude might die in office. He might die in office, and then look who's going to run America right after him. The worst person for black people. The worst person for black people. That vice president to run like she will ruin, like that lady. She will ruin black people. She will ruin black people. She will ruin Latin people. She will ruin those two Latinos and African Americans. She will ruin us. And people don't see that. And it's just like, it's hard to really like explain unless you really just sit there and write it down for people and say, read this, look at what's going on. People, it's only, look, okay, let me put this in an example. Let me put this in an example. Before Trump was president, everyone loved Trump. Everyone loved him. Everyone loved him. Somehow out of nowhere, the media told everyone to hate Trump. Now suddenly celebrities are against Trump. The media are against Trump. If you say Trump's name, you got to say it in disgust because he's racist, because he's this, because he had guy talk. anything. Someone was sitting there recording because he said grab him by the, he had guy talk. That means, guys talk like that amongst each other. I don't see nothing wrong with that. You know what I mean? He's this, he's that, he's this, he's that. We look at Joe Biden right now. This man, white supremacist for 40 plus years, for 40 years, close friends with a KKK leader, close friends with him. Now suddenly people can change. Now suddenly people can change. Now suddenly, he changed. He's not like that anymore. He understands. He does no, he doesn't. He doesn't understand. He still thinks the same way. Because of Barack Obama. Barack Obama was one of the worst presidents we've ever had. He was the worst. And it's just like, people don't even really see that. It's a lot that, I'm sorry, I didn't really prepare myself for this
no, you're good.
podcast, but I'm really just trying to go off what I'm thinking of right now. And it's just like, with everything that's going on right now, it's only going to get worse unfortunately, like I don't want racism to be a focal point of the issue, but the fact that it has no choice but to be a focal point, it's only going to get worse for people of color. It's only going to get worse for people of color, and it's only going to get worse for children because of the decisions that are being made and that are actually happening. You know what I mean? Like these things right here, it shouldn't happen. We should all have common sense. Like what's being led right now, the reason why they're attacking, the reason why they're targeting children right now at this very moment, the reason why children are such a focal matter to these people is because this is the gateway. I'm telling you, it's going to be hard to believe, but I'm telling you, this is the gateway to allowing pedophilia. This is the gateway to allowing this type of stuff. That's why children are such a focal matter right now, because there's a bunch of pedophiles that are in charge right now, and now they're allowing this type of stuff to be a thing, which it shouldn't be. Like children shouldn't have any say or anything to do with this type of stuff. But this is the gateway to pedophilia, and it sucks. And it sucks for people. It sucks for kids to not understand these type of things. That's why everyone, these liberals or everything, that's why they're so heavily based on these pronouns. That's why they want us, they're demanding respect. Demanding respect for pronouns, because they want people to say they can wake up one morning, a 35-year-old, 6'5", 332-pound man, you want me to call you a girl. You want me to call you a girl, right? You want me, this tall ass big dude, you want me to call you a girl. You want to know why they want me to do all that? It's because they want the allowance for this is literally the gateway to pedophilia. Then now when some man says I am a girl, I'm a little girl, now this man saying that I'm a little girl is going to be messing with boys. He's going to be messing with little boys. It is just like, this is literally the gateway. This is what's wrong. This is why I can't stand liberals. This is why I can't stand the left. I hate that this thing that they're pushing, and it's just like nothing that people like me can do about it, because like, look who's in office. What can we do about it? We can't do nothing about it. Look at the big difference between when Republicans raided through the cap and when BLM was a thing.
Okay, yeah, I want to talk about that. What do you think about BLM? I found that very like a double standard, but tell me what you think.
So we have a problem with people. It's like the way I looked at the Republicans when they ransacked, these people were outraged because for somehow dead people were voting. How are dead people voting? How are dead people voting for Biden? How are these, like, I can understand where their anger from. Now, BLM, I can also understand where they were coming from when the protests started. But then the damage started. Then the $2 billion damage happened. The stealing happened. All this stuff, the unnecessary, the violence happened. That, like, for not something that 3 weeks, not something like for like 2 months, 2, 3, 4, like 2, 3 months. that this stuff was like 2 months that this stuff was happening. And everything was justified. That's not justification. These are criminals. Like, these are people that literally ran. What does me steal? What does me burning down establishments and causing damage? How does that help a caller? Like,
the defense is that they say that it's a different group of people. So, they have nothing to do with us. Well, what is your...
That whole thing, look who was there. Remember when they started that whole fist thing? When they started the fist, how did this start off? It started off with two main protests is how it started off. And that's where the point where I still didn't support the movement, but I understand what they were doing. But then they allowed liberals to come through. Once liberals started to speak for Black Lives Matters, once they started to speak for it, then the damage started to happen. Then it started to, like, because it was before liberals started to support BLM and started putting it all over their bios. I want you to tell me one Black person who has Black Lives Matters on there that's not a liberal. Tell me one. You can't, because some people don't have common sense. As soon as the liberals joined in when it came to BLM, then the damage started to happen. Then boom, boom. Then they changed the fist. It started to being about, first it started about Black lives. It started about Black people. That's what it started about. It started for Black people. Now suddenly they turned it started for transgenders. What does being transgender have to do with being Black? Like, it's not the same. Yeah, I can understand there are transgender people who got killed but they got killed for being transgender. They didn't get killed for being Black. Now, if they got killed for being Black, then yes, we can fight for them too. Like that, if you want to fight for transgenders, if you want to fight for transgenders and all this stuff, yes, fight for them for being Black. You're not fighting. We're not fighting. This is not a time for at that time. This is not at that time. This is not the time for you to be worrying about some foolish rights that you guys think you guys don't have, because you guys are also American people. You have those rights. If I get stopped by a policeman right now and a gay guy gets stopped by a policeman right now, that gay guy got stopped by a homophobic police, I got stopped by a racist cop. Who do you think is going to prison that night? Me. I'm going to prison. You can easily just not expose your sexuality. I can't stop being Black. I can't wake up one morning and say I'm not going to be Black. You understand? So I honestly find that, like, these people really think that Black man dying also meant it's time to fight. That George Floyd dying meant that it was also time to use a Black tragedy and Breonna Taylor, even though that story is like a whole ridiculous. I mean, like, but whatever. Like, you can use it at the end of the day. Yes, someone died in this situation. Using someone's death for your own gain is the worst thing you could possibly do. And it's just like, you can't talk about any other topic without them being involved. That's what makes me mad. I'm just like, it's something that's not even about you. You make it about yourself. These people are like the LeBron James of the NBA. Why you got to make everything about you? Like, it's not you. Like, let someone else let someone else be the focal point of a situation right now. It's not about you. It's not. That's why I hate the left. That's why it's not about you, but they make it about them. And then everything, now we're not even talking about the person who just got brutally murdered. We're not talking about your rights again, the rights that you already have as an American citizen. So I'm not understanding where all this stuff is coming from. You understand what I mean?
Where is Black Lives Matter now after the election?
Where's it at now? He's been president for quite some time now. I don't see him doing anything for Black. I don't see anything doing anything for BLM. He didn't raise his fist up in the air. All this stuff. Where are they now? Exactly, because it wasn't about Black people. You know who Papa Gut is?
No.
You don't know who Papa Gut. He's another one of those controversial people who actually fans. So Papa Gut had, when I first had exposed BLM for being something that the liberals are using for their own hidden agenda, he got on my ass. And I was wondering why he was attacking me so. I'm like, you have common sense. You're not stupid. But then come to find out, Papa Gut was a queer, right? So now I understood why he attacked me. He took offense to what I was saying. So once he attacked me and everything, I sat there and I said, you're the same person. You're attacking me now, but you're literally the same person who does the same thing I'm saying. You're wearing a dress and shaking your ass for teenage kids. You're just as bad as the people that I'm coming after. And then after that, he never spoke to me again. He never came after me and attacked me again. And he stopped doing what he was doing. So that's like, so when it came to BLM, when I started telling people, when I sit there and telling people like, yo, I thought Black Lives Matter meant what the name was, Black Lives. And when I started saying that, I was like, why are you guys, what does when they started putting the Black Lives with the against being against cops, I'm like, why are you guys pushing that with Black people? Because that's gonna make it, yeah. And the worst part of it was a bunch of white people merging the two together. If you're merging people being against cops and you're putting that and you're planting that, I'm not saying all cops are bad, but there are bad cops out there. And if you're sitting there planting Black people with being against the cops, they're not gonna look at you, they're gonna look at Black people and say Black people are the ones that are against police. And that's not the case at all. You understand? These people are only making it worse for Black people. Racism shouldn't be a situation racism is always going to be around, just like how thieves are always going to be around. Killers are always going to be around. It's not something that just go away because you said a few things. They're always around. It's not gonna change. But when you put it in the center of it, when you make it a main benefactor, when you make racism a main benefactor, the worst thing you can do to a racist is ignore a racist. That's the worst thing you can do to a racist. The worst thing you can do to a racist is ignore a racist. They have no power when you ignore them. When you ignore, like, it's hard to believe, but when you ignore racism, racist people have no power. So are you understanding where I'm going with this? Mm-hmm. Democrats, the way Democrats got Black people to vote for them is because they was beating a dead horse called racism. They beat racism with the head over and over to the point where this man said, if you don't vote for me, you're not even Black. They beat racism on the head for those votes for Black people. And Black people fell right for it. They fell right for it. And now look at where we at. What is this man doing now? What's the first move this man made? Now, boom, after all that, like I said it last year, which got me, you wouldn't believe the death threats, the pictures, the stuff, like all this stuff. It was so many verified people and models that I didn't even know existed. There was so many people that came after me. It was the funniest thing ever. I said it. I exposed it. I said, they're screaming BLM now, but watch the first move he made is going to be for the LGBTQ. And what was the very first move he made as president? He made a transgender, the secretary of what? He did something for something of Delaware. That's the first move that he made. And I told them that it's not for us. These things, it's not for us. It's for the LGBTQ and for liberals in general. It's not for us. And the moment people, especially Black people and people of color in general, the moment they realize that Democrats are not for them, what are they going to do? What are Democrats going to do? They're going to they're going to flip the switch. They're going to flip the switch. And now main states, Philadelphia, Chicago, Memphis, all those people, all these places, you're gonna see crime somehow just raise up out of nowhere. You're gonna see crime raise up out of nowhere, just rise out of nowhere, which is gonna push and force them to say, oh, because these people can't contain themselves, we have to have a round-the-clock watch over these people. And what is a round-the-clock watch? Martial law. Right? But it's never going to get to that. It's never going to get to that point unless people of color actually wake up and see these people aren't for them. These people aren't for you. They're using you. They're using your skin color. They're using where you're from. They're using they're using your bloodline for their own agenda. We're not going to gain anything from it unless we actually gain by ourselves. All these people that I named right now, they like you can say, look, here's a perfect example. Look at Kevin Hart. Kevin Hart, who was supposed to host Oscars, gets ransacked because, again, this is a black man we're talking about, a successful black man. He gets ransacked by who? The LGBTQ, over a joke he made at the time years ago, right? 8 years ago. I want you to remember that. The person, what's his name? This is why I say it's not about this. Look at the man that played me on The Flash. He gets kicked off. His career is over a joke over a racial joke he made 9 years ago, damn near a decade on Twitter. 9 years ago. I want you to really think about that. 9 years ago. This person, Only Jayus, I don't know if you know who that is. Only Jayus. She's a person, she has a Netflix deal, all this other stuff. She's really famous on TikTok. This person she calls someone, I don't want to ruin your podcast.
No, you could do it. No, this podcast is to bring awareness. You could do whatever you want to do.
Okay. This I can say what I want. Okay. This Only Jayus, she called someone a nigger lover. She said, you're a nigger lover. Right? And when she got exposed, none of her platforms got taken away. You want to know why none of her platforms got taken away? Because she's gay. And you want to know the cancel culture have for some reason, the cancel culture are just very powerful in ruining someone's life for whatever reason. They ruin people's lives and people allow it to happen, but they didn't. And then not 3 weeks later, she called someone else a nigger. This is a white woman we're talking about. She called someone else a nigger. But I'm like, okay, you guys just attacked. This is why I say it's not about race. I want people to throw away racism and take racism out of the equation because it's not about racism. It's about who's with them and who's against them. Kevin Hart got ransacked from hosting the Oscars because of a joke he made at the time, 8 years ago. Ralph Dibny got canceled. That's a white guy. Ralph Dibny loses his job, his career is ruined over jokes he made damn near 10 years ago on Twitter. This person who called someone a nigger lover and called someone else a nigger, 3 weeks ago, is still here. It still has a Netflix deal. Still has their stuff. Like all of her platforms are still here. But Donaldage, who literally just makes a face. Donaldage, a black kid who simply just makes a face. All he does is smile and stop smiling. All his platforms get taken away. How does that work? Which means it's not about black, white, person of color, person of this. It's not about that. I want people to throw that away. Just throw racism away because it's not about racism. Racism is a distraction. It is not what's really the problem in America. It's not the problem in America. Racism is not the problem. The problem is the problem is the left. That's the problem. Is these things that they want to be allowed. They're soft selling our men in this country. They're soft selling them. They're trying to make men weak. They're targeting children. They're feeding black women all this bullshit. They're feeding black women all this like, yeah, you're a queen, you're this, which is true. Yes, you guys are queens. Like I'm not saying, but I'm saying they're feeding you guys all this bullshit because of what they want out of the black woman right now in today's America is very sacred. It's very sacred right now in America, and the liberals, they know that. So when you feed black women what they want, the attention that they want, when you feed it to them, now when you give them that what they want to hear, now you have that power. Not only do you have that power, you now have that power because if you have power over black women, you have power over black men. And you can say and do what you want to black men because you already have the power over black women. You understand? So it's just like, It's not, especially being Black as a whole in general is just a sacred thing right now in America, which is why the liberals, that's why you would not see one liberal not scream to the top of their lungs, Black Lives Matter. Because if you control the Black man, you control the narrative. You control the Black man, you control the narrative. You control how things are, how you want things to go. Because they use Black deaths and Black tragedies for the worse. And and then the worst is what they want to be pushed. And I'm telling you right now, that's why pronouns are such a heavy thing today. They want pronouns to be a heavy thing today because they want grown men and grown women to be allowed to call themselves women or girls. So they want to cancel out gender. So now men will now be walking into women's bathrooms and he walks into bathrooms with little girls, or now grown-ass men who call themselves women or call themselves little girls can now be dealing with little boys. You understand? So it's a weird and it's a crazy and abominable mindset that they have that's being allowed and being pushed. And that's what I've been fighting for. Yeah, I know I'm going to get a lot of hate for it. I know people are going to hate my guts and everything. I mean, it's already been, like, last year was the worst when it came to having death threats and everything. Again, and these are the people saying what? You should be loving and caring and not alive. But these are the first people to send you a death. And these are the first people to say that you should kill yourself and all of these are the first people to harass you in public. I've been harassed 8 or 9 times in public, but I'm not going to sit there and stop saying what I'm saying because I want people to wake up. I really want people to wake up and see what's going on.
All right, so
up too much.
Okay, no. I see a lot of passion in it, so that's great. But instead of like the LGBT thing, what do you think about? Because I know Republicans are not so for. It's not that they're not for welfare, but they're somewhat against and how it is currently, and also the stimulus checks. Which side? Where do you lean when it comes to the stimulus checks and also welfare?
Honestly, I believe welfare. I also believe welfare should be. It should be. I don't think welfare does any justice for the lower class. I don't think it really does anything for them because it's not as if you were gonna put welfare into something like I feel like it should be more so being put into the schools in lower class instead of just giving them some monthly pay or some EBT card for them. Like, it's not doing anything for them, especially Section 8. If you go to any Section 8 place, you see how terrible it is. You see how terrible people live in Section 8 and they're comfortable living like that. They shouldn't live like that. You should want better for the American people. You can go to like any Bennett or any what's it called? What are like those real ghettos? What are they called again?
The hood projects.
Projects. You go to any, especially you go to the projects and stuff. That's dominated by Section 8. You know what I mean? So it's just like, it's really just. I honestly don't agree. Like, I don't stimulus checks. When it comes to stimulus checks, like I'm not too much against it because I can understand some people. Like, even like at the time when I was working a normal job, like even I was laid off because of the whole situation with COVID and whatnot. Even now, so stimulus checks, I'm not really against stimulus checks like that right there. If you don't want someone to have stimulus checks, that's at that point that's selfishness. And I'm not saying that off of me. I'm saying there's a lot of people out there. Like, even if you put myself aside, there's a lot of people out there who go in and day out with their jobs, and you just wake up one morning, you don't have it because of a pandemic. You know what I mean? So, like, giving someone a stimulus is not the worst thing in the world. It's not the craziest thing to just give someone a couple $1,000, $2,000, even $3,000. It's not the worst thing in the world to happen. You know what I mean? But when it comes to welfare, I'm very much kind of against welfare because, like, and I can't speak on it for everybody. Can't speak on it for everybody because there are people who just really need it. It's just like, that's life. There's some people that really need welfare, that need that real help and hand. But there are people out there, and there's a mass majority of these Black people out here that make me so mad. I'm like, how would you sit there and say, oh, I'm just going to sign up for welfare and I'm going to sit on my ass all day? And the government can't tell the difference between who fucking needs it and who doesn't need it. That's where I stand on welfare. I believe there should be a better system for welfare where whether they like it or not, you need to get off your ass because there's nothing wrong with you. You need to really get off your ass and do something and not wait for the government. You know what I mean? Everybody wants to wait, especially these lazy ass. Everybody want to wait for the government. You know what I mean? Do something. Your legs work, your hands work. You know what I mean?
So what do you think about people saying that the system is systematically oppressing people to find a job? Like, I can't find a job because I'm a minority or this and that.
Not true. It's not true. That's not true at all. It's a lot of people actually hiring. It's a lot of people, like, if I can give you firsthand experience because I worked at Penn. At the time and everything. And when Penn gave us the news and everything, I was like, all right, no problem. I said, okay, cool. Like, I'm just going to use my degree for something else, if anything. So, they wasn't for sure. Like, I sat there and I worked right now I'm at a pharmacy and everything. And, it's the best that I can do for my own situation when it comes to this pandemic and stuff. You know what I mean? But my original job, who pays me really well, they never stopped contacting me. They never stopped contacting me saying, like, hey, you know what I mean? Blah, blah, blah. They always tell me the same thing, like every other 3 days. We know that the pandemic is right? But this job will always be open for you whenever you need it. Like, that's not true, because if you actually have the credentials for a job, they will give you the job. Like, all this stuff, like, it's not oppressing anybody. And like, it's what you put out there that'll be given back to you. If you know what I'm like, it's based off of what you do. It's not because blaming the system on everything is not going to get us anywhere. Because that same system is what we're going to need when push comes to shove. That same system is what we're going to run to when everything goes to hell. That's the same thing we're going to run to. So blaming it on us, like blaming it on the system in every aspect, is not going to help us in everything. You can criticize the system. I'm not saying you can't. You can criticize what they do. But when you start blaming your shortcomings on the system, that's where I have a problem. Yeah.
All right. So how about minimum wage? What do you think about that? Hello?
Right now, what's minimum wage right now? Isn't it $7.25?
Federal minimum wage, yeah, I think around there. But sorry, I think your service is cutting off. Maybe.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, federal minimum wage right now is approximately $7.25, I believe. But in New York City, it's $15, I believe. But what do you think about people saying, talking about raising minimum wage, and that it's too expensive to live, etc.?
I'm all for it. It's also based on where you really. It's also based on where you really live. Where it comes to like minimum wage, I'm all for it though. Like, I can agree with that. I can agree with minimum wage being like raised more. I'm all for that. Like, I'm not too keen on minimum wage because I've never really made minimum wage before. Like, but if I can go off of others, like I can stand for that. It is getting more expensive, especially when it comes to Commonwealth states. It is getting more expensive to live. You know what I mean? So like, I can understand it being raised like that. I'm all for that. I can agree on it.
Some people argue that minimum wage is due to minimum work. What do you think about that?
No, I don't agree with that, because if you look at today right now, like how things are right now, fast food joints are at an all-time high. People ransack fast food joints. People ransack their nearest Whole Foods. So I like, people are in there, like my cousin right now. He's saying that he was sitting there saying that, okay, he's at Chick-fil-A from dusk till dawn because of how much people want damn Chick-fil-A.
Yeah.
Like, and if you're gonna sit there and even believe it or not, even like places like Foot Locker. Foot Locker, that is a guy I know, he makes minimum at Foot Locker, but people are consistently buying stuff at Foot Locker now. Surprisingly, people are at Foot Locker. So people are if you're sitting there for a good 10 hours, giving off your service and your time, I feel like you do deserve more. I don't believe that people are out here doing minimum job for the minimum wage, because unless you can talk, if that's the case, then you need to switch roles. You need to switch roles when it comes to janitorial work. If the janitorial works, if janitorial people can make 11 to 15 an hour doing actual bare minimum, then you need to switch the roles, give it to them, and let's see what happens, because they're doing the same thing for a good 6 to 8 hours every day. Janitorial work, they're doing the same thing from 6 to 8 hours. But fast food joints, you don't know how that day is going to go. You don't know how the day is going to go. But if janitorial workers can make $15 an hour for bare minimum for 6 hours to 8 hours, why can't fast foods do the same? Why can't people at Foot Locker do the same? Why can't people that work at outlets do the same? When they don't even know where their days are unpredictable, how come they can't?
Fair point. One last question, and then we'll move on to the last topic. So if you agree with a minimum wage increase, do you think that wages should increase across the board? As in, like, if minimum wage is going to increase for people, let's say in fast food or whatever, they should also raise the pay of, let's say, police officers or office workers or everything of that sort. Should all of those be increased as well?
Yes, I believe they should get paid more too. Because again, that goes to my same point, especially law enforcement. They don't know how their day is going to go. But at the same time, it depends on where you are and who you are. You know what I mean? And you can't pinpoint every single individual. You know what I mean? So if I was to say, okay, also the law enforcement deserve a pay raise, then how would I put this? How's the best way to put this? Like, I do believe that they deserve more as well, because I believe, especially, I don't feel like they get the appreciation that they like they do the same. Like, now it's a whole thing, especially I can only tell you my experience. Like, I can tell you how Philadelphia now, like, patrols are at an all-time high in Philadelphia now. So I feel like if they're being asked to do more than what they used to do, I feel like they also deserve more. Because, like, it's only fair. Like, it's only fair to give them more when they're being asked to do more, especially in Philadelphia. That's what I see. That's my knowledge of people like the enforcement and all that stuff. They're being asked to do more. I feel like they also deserve more. You know?
Okay. I guess last topic, reparations. What do you think?
What you mean?
The reparations for Black people due to the slavery back then. What is your whole view on reparations? Is it necessary? How would you go about it? What is the right amount to repay, etc.?
Why? Why are you paying Black people for something that other people did 400 years ago?
So you're against it?
I'm against that. Like, no. Like, what you want? What you want to pay people? Why would I pay you for something that I wasn't around for? Why would I pay you for something? Boom. Oh, like, what? No, it shouldn't be a thing at all. Like, no, you need to, like, if you want true equality, you need to be as equal as the white man aside from you, as the Asian man to the left of you, as the Latino on the right of you. You need to be as equal as like, you don't deserve money for something that happened to someone else hundreds of years ago. You don't deserve it. What makes you think that because he was a slave, you need to get money for it?
The argument is that because the ancestors were enslaved, they had a less of an opportunity to do more for themselves because of the wealth gap that, all the slaves back then weren't able to build up their wealth like the white people have, etc.
If that was the case, if that was truly the case, the moment that we're like, this is why I say like history needs to be more fleshed out, because once again, Black people weren't the only slaves. It wasn't just Black slaves out there. That's what I want people to understand, that it wasn't just Black slaves that are out there running around. Because if it was really only Black slaves that was out there running around, we would still be in the dirt, because that means everybody had us as slaves. How come? How did it magically? No. Black people weren't the only slaves out there around that time. We don't deserve money for something that happened somewhere else, because if that's what you're paying everybody. Everyone's getting paid. Everyone. That's what I hate. I despise the dwelling of actions hundreds of years ago. And now people of today have to pay for it, because it's just some grand scheme of, oh, because I'm Black, there's this whole grand scheme like, now I'm bigger than you. I deserve more because of what happened at that point in time. No, I don't agree with it. No one should get paid for slavery at all. The best way to deal with, move on from slavery. I don't agree with that. No one should get paid for something that happened that many years ago.
Okay. Do you feel like Black people are oppressed currently?
No, I don't think Black people are oppressed at all. I feel like we're on the verge of being oppressed by ourselves, because we need to realize that especially if you're an American, a Black American, you need to realize that you are, no matter how they say you are, you need to realize that you are also an American. We're not oppressed. I need people to stop feeling that way, especially my people. I need to stop feeling that you're oppressed. You're not oppressed. And the moment you realize that, the moment things will actually start happening for you. You cannot just go, because bad shit happens to everyone. Bad shit happens to everyone. Okay? Like, I can tell you right now, is like, what's that kid in that white kid who got killed by the cop? Oh, like, boom. You can, where was that place at? Where, but you know what I'm trying to say. It's like bad shit happens to bad people, to good people all the time. Bad things happen to everyone. I don't feel like we're oppressed. I feel like we need to get that mindset out of the way. Like, oh, everyone's against us. Everyone's after us. Everyone's this, everyone's that. No, we're the only ones after ourselves, which goes back to my other point. You can't realize your greatest self until you give up things that happened in the past. Goes back to my point with slavery. Like, all this stuff, the moment you give that up, which is why I really want my people, I can understand people getting offended by the hard R, but if you get offended by a non-Black person saying the N-word that's in a song, you have issues. It's in a song. Like if you like, come on, like that right there is another, like, that pisses me off. You're only oppressing yourself. It's a song. Like, Black people are really only oppressing themselves. They need to get out of that stage where people, like you Black, you can't do this because I'm Black. You can't do that. Oh, I'm Black, so therefore you can't do. I can't do because I'm Black. You can't do because I'm Black. That doesn't, like that mindset makes me so upset. It's only Black people oppressing themselves. But in a reality, when Black people get their reality check, you're not oppressed. Black people are not oppressed.
All right. No, I agree with you. And I agree that the greatest form of oppression is happening right now, if anything, because asking for reparations is basically you kneeling down to a quote unquote superior, right? So that's racism, to ask for money for something that has happened, a long time ago. And I don't think people see that. So it's like me going and saying, hey, I need help, help me. That's so fucked up. And then I saw some article that they were trying to take away AP classes if they quote Black people don't score high enough, that they're gonna take it away. Like, to me, that's so racist. Like, what is that supposed to mean? That you don't think that Black people can pass it? Like, It's stupid. And like you said, I think anti-racist people are becoming more racist than ever. Just like these people calling for unity, they're dividing us the most. So, I mean, that's all the questions I wanted to ask, but hopefully this podcast brings, awareness and motivates other people to, do better and break out of that cycle. Because I think I interviewed a young black male on the previous episode, and the kid, he seemed very well off, and someone said that, this kid doesn't know anything about Black history. He shouldn't speak on it. He's too young, blah, blah, blah. But I think he broke out of the cycle at a young age. Mm-hmm. He's not letting people, make his destiny by thinking in the past.
The best way to, was that your only question? So because I gotta go. Okay, my hair done.
Yeah, no problem.
That's the way the best way for Black people to really deem themselves as, equal is to throw away what already happened. I really want to beat that on everyone's head. You need to throw away what happened before and look forward. The more we keep looking back, the more we're going to stay back and stay having issues. And that's the same issues that political people will use against Black people. When you keep thinking about the past, they're going to keep using the past. The moment we outgrow what happened, the moment we outgrow that situation, the moment we outgrow all the things that's happened to us is the moment we've matured as a people, if that makes any sense. Because right now, Black people's worst enemy right now are Black people, because it seems like we can't get slavery out of our head. When people say it happened, I understand. I can understand what it means. I can understand if someone robbed your mother's house 5 years ago, you're not going to forget that person robbed your mother's house 5 years ago. I can understand that. But the best thing to do for your mother is to move her to a better place so she doesn't get robbed. Black people need to move to a better mindset. Black people have to move to a better mindset so we can stop getting robbed from ourselves. We need to stop robbing ourselves. That's what I'm basically trying to say. We need to get out of that mindset where it's just like, we don't have. We do have. It's so much out. This is why it's America. We do have. We have. We just got to go get it and stop saying that these people won't let us get it when we can get it ourselves. That's the main thing I want people to get out from this podcast. That's what I want people to get out the most of this podcast, that you can get what you want. There's no one stopping you from getting it except yourself. That's pretty much it. So yeah, that's all I gotta say.
All right. Thank you so much for being on with us. You have a blessed day. Appreciate you, bro. Bye-bye. We'll be right back.